Crank it over. Crank it over.
It's not starting.
I don't know, James. What did you expect?
No, I know, but I thought because of its age, you know, and its pedigree.
Or just take the Land Cruiser. Go get help.
Okay.
You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas. And where's James? And this is the overpriced FJ Cruiser?
But is it overpriced? Because it's now reaching a near legendary status. Oh yeah, and I'm James. And since I'm down in California and Thomas is stuck in cold Canada because of a flight mix-up, he decided that as Canadians do, he would embrace the winter by trying an FJ Cruiser. This one has been gracefully lent to us by the folks at MTM Auto House here in Toronto. A vehicle that has now become a hot topic of conversation because on the used market, it costs as much as a new Ford Bronco. Why? Well, because as I've said before, it's dopers.
Luck is a four-letter word that does not apply to one who seeks to buy an FJ Cruiser. Because it's not just mustached, dark-rimmed glasses, flannel-wearing, outdoorsy overland enthusiasts that buy these. I've seen every type of person driving an FJ Cruiser. So no matter where you look, these are pricey, especially now. But there's a reason for that. If you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing around. So subscribe and hit the bell. I'm sure a lot of you know by now that this off-roader almost didn't happen. They made a concept, premiered it at an auto show, no intention to really build it, but everyone loved it so much that they caved and put it into production. And I'm glad they did, because it has that kind of go-anywhere attitude that you can only get from a big, dumb off-road truck on the road. 4-liter V6, 260 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque. And you can get an FJ Cruiser with full-time all-wheel drive, like a center torsion differential like we have in our 4Runner. But this one has the good old-fashioned transfer case with the 4 high and 4 low, manual handbrake, then a locking differential. This is the one you want for actual off-road stuff. But that does mean that on the road right now, it's rear-wheel drive only, and I've been spinning tires. 4-liter V6, 260 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque. It's got everything you need to go anywhere, and yet here I am, driving it on a road. But that's okay, because I kind of like driving it on the road. There's something, what's the word, therapeutic about driving a vehicle in an environment that it wasn't built for. I don't know why, but you always have this sense of, like, well, yeah, I'm driving it here now, but just wait until you see what I can do in that field over there or going up that hill. I don't know, I just like it. James called me and he asked, what's it like to drive? Because he's never driven one. And he asked if it's like our 4Runner. And I said, no, it's not. It's more Wrangler-y than that. Although it's not as Wrangler-y as a Wrangler, but it's definitely more Wrangler-y than a 4Runner. If that makes any sense. I will say, because of some of the aftermarket lights on this and the fact that the windscreen is near vertical, it is kind of like trying to drive the broadside of a barn. There's lots of wind noise. It doesn't feel like it slips through the air at all. And this windscreen is A, known to crack very frequently, and B, it has 3 windscreen wipers. That's the only way that they could cover the entire thing with windscreen wipers, which I guess makes it the total recall of windscreens. But it's got more torque than you even need for an off-roader. Doesn't exactly sing, but it's got that kind of punchy low-down displacement 4-liter V6. It's not a small engine. Steering, actually quite a lot of feedback, but that's just because it's old. And, the transmission stays mostly out of your way. I think I'd prefer this with a manual, though, just because it would be more fun. But the best part is you constantly get this sense of occasion when you drive it, because it really does feel different. The visibility is bad, and I've got this huge gauge pod up here with my temperature, my pitch and roll, and a compass.
And when it comes to the interior, it's very easy to fall into the trap of thinking that it's old and cheap. But that's not true. It was designed like this.
There's no carpets. You can hose out the interior. The seats feel and look like you could replace them for $130 at the Toyota parts desk. That's probably true. And everything is comically oversized. These buttons for my four-way and my rear window defrost are massive. They're the size of a toonie if you've ever been to Canada. And the climate control knobs are hilariously big. That's because they're designed to be used with gloves on. Why would you not do that? You know what is dumb is modern cars that have everything in a touchscreen with the buttons this big and you're going over bumps and you can't hit it. Just give me a 4-foot long fan adjustment. Why not? It's easy. I like it. This one actually has an aftermarket Android tablet deck thing, which sadly works better than a lot of modern infotainments. So I don't mind that at all. And it is worth noting that there is a ton of space in here. I have more headroom than I need. I've got lots of legroom, lots of arm room, and our audio guy can fit in the back, kind of.
This FJ has a small lift kit, so I can't fully comment on the ride, but I will say that since it has a solid rear axle and independent front suspension like the new Bronco, it feels stable at speed and confident enough in the corners. You get the sense that these are popular because they balance off-road abilities with daily comfort quite well. But that's not the best part about them. The best part is the almost timeless styling.
This thing looks like it's meant to do what it's meant to do. I think it looks pretty awesome. If James were here, he'd tell me what the color is. Since he's not here, I'm gonna call it blue. Anyway, this one's got lots of aftermarket stuff, right? Aftermarket snorkel, whole bunch of aftermarket light bars. Who doesn't love light bars? Like, the more the better, really. It's got some wheels that I'm not a huge fan of. And like, this is something I didn't even know existed, but this has got suicide doors, right? Look at that. It's just so much cool stuff about it, right? Make sure you get that in the right order. But I think it's one of those vehicles that has genuine road presence, like real road presence. It doesn't look like anything else on the road, which just automatically makes it cool. And it's actually interesting because it seems like Toyota is gonna kind of keep this retro look into the future, because we've seen an EV concept of one of these. And I asked Toyota if there's gonna be an EV FJ Cruiser. And they said to me, no comment. And then they winked. I mean, I assume they winked. It was over a phone call. But like, this has got so much other stuff on it that, I mean, I can't stop looking at it. Look, I've got a ladder back here and everything. Right? Like, it's really, who doesn't love a ladder, right? And it's got a car top here. What's up? Just knocking out 20. Anyway, the reason that this looks like such a retro off-roader is because this look wasn't invented for this truck.
It's based on this, which is a 79 FJ40 Land Cruiser. Now somehow, this costs about the same as the FJ that Thomas is in, but it's 33 years older. But because it's a Toyota, it doesn't look a day over 32. Now this has an inline six, and it has a whopping 135 horsepower, 125 horsepower. But like the FJ Cruiser Thomas is in, torque is the most important thing here, of which it has 200 pound-feet. That's almost double the amount of horsepower, because this car is very much an off-roader. And if you can't tell that from the numbers, you certainly can tell by driving it. I've got a 4-speed manual here, so it's straightforward for first. The whole thing's rickety, It feels like a tractor. Got this giant diameter steering wheel, which has, I think by the owner's manual, 2.5 inches of play either directions. There's like anywhere you are, there's 5 inches of just steering wheel play. It's full of high-tech features. I haven't got Apple CarPlay, but God forbid I get warm on a long drive through the mountains. I've got this little door down here. Kick it open, and boom, cold air all over myself. How do I close it? I think I've got to pull over and do it. I'm not gonna. Like Thomas, I've got a vertical screen, which I'm sure also cracks all the time. I put my foot to the floor. Yeah, it's not fast, it's not climbing over rocks. It's not a Baja racer. Remember, this thing, which by the way is absolutely hilarious to drive, was built to do what it was supposed to do, what it said on the box. And it was supposed to do it for a very, 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 very long time. And here we are, 33 years and 70,000 miles later, if this odometer is correct and hasn't rolled over multiple times, and it is still working. I have complete faith in this car. It's so impressive. I feel like I could go anywhere, really, really slowly.
One of my favorite mountaineers has a saying when he's talking about climbing big Himalayan peaks. He said, getting to the top is optional, but getting back down is mandatory. And when you're venturing out into the wilderness with a vehicle, getting to your destination is optional, but getting back home is mandatory. And if I was gonna put my faith in any vehicle to get me back home safely, I think it might be one of these. I don't think you can put a price on that.
Well, I mean, you can, Thomas, because they're like 40 grand now.
No, that's not what I meant. Never mind. Thanks for watching.